Hi there, and welcome to this third and final installment of our FinXL training series. This final video will cover off those two last reports that we've not covered off yet, which is the fund breakdown report and the series return report. And taken together with the other reports that we have covered off over the last two videos and sitting beside, obviously, all the features that are available to you in Excel, you can use this data to create various different dashboards and potentially fact sheets. There's lots of different things you can then create with that data. It's probably quite a good place to start. So this hopefully gives you some ideas of what you can do with that data. So this is a fact sheet. So again, if I'm able to create pie charts and line charts and maps with the data that I'm just about to show you, and how to pull that out with the last two reports, I could create fact sheets, fund fact sheets, portfolio fact sheets, maybe market commentary reports, showing the performance of a particular model versus benchmark, the asset allocation, kind of regional splits in a map, and then bespoke wording for me to update every month. The way it looks in Excel is something a bit like this. And then all the data that underpins that is in here. Equally, if I wanted to create a dashboard, there's different kind of use cases for this. If I show you, this is something I created recently. So again, this is me pretending that I have these 5 model portfolios of mine, and I want a dashboard that keeps me up to speed and up to date with how they're performing. But equally, this could be a fund panel of mine that I want to keep a tab on, or maybe I am a fund manager and I actually have 5 funds that I manage. Again, I want that in a similar sort of dashboard. So the different use cases here, but this is my model 1. I've tagged the icons to the different worksheets at the bottom, so I can just click on them on the left instead of the bottom. But model 1, again, all this data is powered off FinXL. So I've got some performance, I've got asset allocation, regional splits, performance. Switching it up a bit on my model 2, I've got bespoke wording that I can include, discrete performance of model versus benchmark, slightly different type of asset allocation chart, which is quite nice. My model 3, I've opted to have a chart that shows all of my 5 models against one another, color coordinated. So it kind of focuses on the model 3, then the asset allocation, then there's more performance stats at the bottom, and then some awards that model may have won. Model 4, looking at some ratios now, so adding max drawdown, volatility, annualized figures, performance, again, charting, asset allocation, etc. And model 5 looks a bit futuristic, but the performance of my model, again, versus, in this case, CPI, there's my asset allocation, and then some performance stats, annualized and non-annualized, and again, a bespoke wording, so I can add an objective, and similar to the fact sheet, all of that data under a data tab, and these are all of the reports I ran in FinXL that are basically powering that dashboard and fact sheet. So every single time I want it updated, I've just simply got to come into my Excel workbook, obviously log in and hit refresh, and all of that data will just update in the background. So that's kind of the end goal. That's some of the things you can create with that data. But how do you create these charts and pie charts, etc.? Well, if I come into an empty worksheet here, and I've got two sheets set up, a worksheet 1 and just one that I've labeled as codes. These are the 2 codes we're going to be using in this demo. So that's again, I've used these reports, fund search and instrument code search, to figure out what the reference codes are. Again, you can probably use analytics for that as well, but you've got the code for Fund Smith Equity fund, and this is the reference code for the Bank of England base rate plus 2%. So they're the 2 I'm going to be using. Now, to create a regional split report, it's pretty simple. Go to Fund Breakdown. Again, origin code, I'm happy with it to be A3. What's the code I'm going to be using? I want to suck out the asset allocation data of that. In this demo, I'm just going to be doing 1 fund. But again, if you had a list of 300 funds, 3,000 funds, you could, again, exactly how I did on the other videos, you could just select all of those codes and it will then suck out the regional split of all of them. You can also do relative as well. So I might want to make this relative to something. I want to look at the asset split regional to a particular fund. Or maybe a particular sector average, so I can show the plus and the minus. That's quite useful. But I'm just going to suck out the regional split of that fund and click on run. Give that a few seconds. And it will pull out the information for me. Now, one of the other options on the right-hand side is you can display the date. So I don't know when that last was updated in FE's database. So if I click on yes at the bottom here and run that again, I'll get another column added at the very front that tells me when the last time that was updated. We generally try and update our asset allocation every month, but clearly it takes a bit of time for the providers to update our information, then a few days a delay again for us to update the database, etc., etc. So the last update was then. Now I can also do asset split. So I'm going to do exactly the same as I did before. I'm going to do a brand new one, fund breakdown, same code, which is that one. But instead of doing investment region, you've got 4 options: asset, sector, region, and top 10 holdings. So obviously you've got the full portfolio holdings as well. You could run that as well. That's a different report. But I'll do asset split. And again, I'll display date. Run that off, and you'll get that appear at the very bottom. Give that a couple of seconds. Now, one thing you will notice, FinXL takes you to the highest level of granularity that we have. So you'll see here that the data looks quite different to analytics. In fact, I've got the fact sheet loaded up in the background. If I come into analytics and ask for a fund fact sheet, there are different granularity rules depending on what product of ours you're using. When you're using something like analytics, it always tries to pick out a particular layer of granularity. So when we look at regions in analytics, you'll get that it invests 66 in North American, 25% in Europe, ex-UK, etc., etc. But what in Europe? Europe's a very big continent, 50 countries or so. Where is that 25% actually invested? So with FinXL, it takes you to one extra layer of granularity, and it tells you exactly where it invests. It invests in France, Denmark, and Spain. Now, at the moment, these figures, I just want to quickly format those. Let's go back to a percentage. There we go. I shall do the same here as well. There we go. It's a bit better. But you can again kind of dictate your own granularity rules. So if I wanted to copy what we have on analytics and take out that granularity instead, for, let's use asset weightings as an example of that. If I run a third report, if I do exactly the same, if I do code LSX3, and we'll just whip out the asset classes. But that's what breakdown codes are. So if I come back to my fact sheet, so I'm going to be going back and forth because I've got a split screen. But the first one is North American equities, so I could do exactly that. These are all of the different regions we've got. So North American equities, I'll pull that out. Then we've also got European equities, European equities. Be warned, there are quite a few of them. European equities. I think we had money market in UK, was it? UK equities and money market. Okay, UK equities and money market. And run that. And you'll see I have a third option now, and it will give me the same granularity as I have in analytics. And I'll just quickly format that. There we go, 66.25, etc. So it's exactly the same. Equally, I could go even higher than that. I could just simply ask for, if I could just change this one, I could just simply ask for, just show me equities, interest, which will be, there will be any on this, and then money market as well. Maybe do property. This would be quite useful if I was doing a lot of different funds. And I just wanted the lowest level of granularity. Always worthwhile putting in others, so it would just lump everything under there. We might have some alternative assets in there, etc. So if I click on run, I'd expect here to get pretty much 90% in equities and the rest in money market. There we go. So 96% and a tiny bit in money market as well. So you can mess around with the granularity layers in which we're pulling out. If you don't mess around with the breakdown codes, it will simply take it to the highest level of granularity we have. Now, to start creating charts off the back of this is pretty simple. You can just select your the data that you want to put into a chart. You can click on insert. There are all the different charts labeled on the right hand side, but if you click on recommended, it will then show you all the different types of charts that Excel can provide. This is regional, so you might want to start off with a map. So I'll add that in. I'll just put that over here. In fact, I'll copy that and I'll put that into my sheet 1 when it will let me. So I'll put that over here. A few seconds, and then I can come back. I can delete that. I don't need that in here anymore. And equally over here, I might want to insert another different type of chart, maybe a bog standard pie chart. If you click on all charts, you've got all the different options. I particularly like kind of a tree map. That's quite nice. Let's do a sunburst instead. There we go. That's my pie chart. And again, I'll copy that into my dashboard over here. And again, if you ever wanted to change the format of a chart, you just click on it and then just chart design and format, mess around with the formatting. And again, I can delete that from here. And lastly, I want a line chart. I want to show the performance of that fund versus its benchmark, which is this reference code up here. So I'm just going to do a last, come back to FinXL, add new report, series return. What are the codes I want to use? I want to use those two. I want to do total return, daily price point. Again, you can use the shortcuts. I want to do 5 year up until today. So again, if you leave end date blank, it will go up to today. There may be blanks because of weekends and bank holidays, etc. So I can just fill those in. I want to rebase that to 0. So I want everything to start at 0. It's particularly useful if you're going to create a chart off the back of it. And that's enough. I can click on go. And you'll get exactly that. You'll get 2 series returns now of those funds. Give that a few seconds. There we go. And now, if you are going to create a chart, what you might want to do is take away the, if I just take away the headings, no to that. Let's run that again, because I'm going to create a chart, but I want the header. I don't want the headings to be LSX3 and BBO E2, etc. I know what they are, so I can create my own headings so it will appear on the actual chart itself. Let's give that a few seconds to load up. Here we go. I'm going to create my own headings there. Date, Fund Smith Equity, or Model 3, whatever I want it to be called. And this is Bank of England plus 2%. Awesome. And then if I copy all of those, and we'll just insert, what does it recommend? There you go, there's a nice chart. And then there's, and again, I'll copy and paste this, which I'll do the futuristic black one. I can copy this, come back into my first sheet, and there's my third chart. Equally on the right hand side, the charts sometimes look nicer if you have different price points. So instead of doing data frequency daily, you might want to do quarterly. So I'll just run that. Give that a few seconds to upload. That'll be obviously a hell of a lot less data. There we go. And you can see the charts automatically updated. And it's just taking monthly price points. And again, if I wanted to change the format of the chart, click on Format and Chart Design and mess around with the design of it. I probably won't be able to do it justice in this short period of time, but YouTube has about a million different videos, I suspect, for formatting different types of charts and the different types of charts you can use in Excel. So long as you have the data, FinXL will give you the data. Use Excel to produce these charts. So they're the last 2 reports to cover off. I think the only one we haven't really mentioned is the exit charges, but most funds don't really have an exit charge anymore, so it's not relevant for 99.9% of use, but that would just allow you to very quickly access exit charges of funds, if there are any. So hopefully you found this training series useful. As if you have any questions, feel free to call the help desk. And equally, if there's anything that you'd like us to create content on, if there are any particular features or particular ways in which you think we can kind of use this information and use this data to spin up and create various different things, feel free to provide some suggestions via the help desk, and we can get onto that and create this video content for it. Again, thanks for watching. Hope you found that useful.